OpenAI's blockbuster deal to buy Johnny Ive's IO firm dropping just as Google was kicking off the second day of its IO conference. Could its new hardware bet take aim at Google's ecosystem? Our Deirdre Bosa is digging into that for today's Tech Check. Morning, Dee.
IO versus IO, right? Yeah. Dropping $6.5 billion on Johnny Ive's IO a day after Google IO keynote feels more like a provocation than a challenge, something that Altman hasn't shied away from in the past. Last year, just a day before IO 2024, OpenAI held a live stream for its latest model, stealing some of that Google thunder. Altman took the rivalry even further this year, signaling an entire strategy shift with Johnny Ive's IO. OpenAI is going fully vertical here, just as Google tries to reassert its own lead. Prominent Apple analyst Ming-Chi Kuo posted on X this morning that the timing of Altman's announcement, it was actually meant, he believes, to leverage a new narrative to redirect attention from Google, aligning with the next critical trend in the race, and that is physical AI. It's also a reminder to investors that we have moved past the just model performance. It's now about mindshare, distribution, and design. And that may be where the walled gardens start to crack. Deep, entrenched ecosystems, that has always been Big Tech's advantage, and OpenAI is taking aim at exactly that, from App Store like GPTs to a Johnny Ive-designed device. This is a bet on IO as distribution. It is a distribution play that is aimed at bypassing the phone, the browser, the operating system, everywhere that the mega caps monetize best. Now, Alphabet shares, they're up again today, bringing post-keynote gains to about 5% as investors digest the many advances laid out on Tuesday, including Google's own AR glasses, showcased as a device for the AI era. But as we've noted, Google didn't answer that bigger existential question. Can it really transform its core business before AI transforms user behavior? And guys, there could be more regulatory pressure on the horizon. A headline just crossing over the last 30 minutes or so. The DOJ is now reportedly probing a Google deal over AI technology. According to Google, the probe is around Character AI, which was essentially an acqui-hire to bring Noam Shazir, one of the Transformers authors, back to the mega cap. Now, OpenAI's deal for IO, that could also be seen as an acqui-hire, too, for Johnny Ive, raising the question, could it be investigated by regulators? But guys, this is just one of many of these sort of acqui-hire deals structured to get around the regulators. You had Amazon and Adapt, Microsoft, and Inflection, too.
That's an expensive hire, $6 billion for Johnny Ive. So, Deirdre, it's hard to figure out sometimes who are friends, who are enemies, all these partnerships. Is there one theory that, by OpenAI doing this, it actually makes Apple a bigger competitor and will reduce the reliance on Apple using OpenAI as its sole AI provider, and that could be an opportunity for Google and for Gemini, and that could actually open up business?
That's a really interesting point, and, like chess play, right? But I think the key word is frenemies. I mean, frenemies has always been the way that tech operated with each other, going back decades. There's these kind of uncomfortable relationships where one company can do something better than the other, and, Apple, Google's a classic example of that. $20 billion plus for Google to be the default search engine, yet they also compete in terms of Android versus iOS. So this is certainly set to continue, but you can't read too much into any loyalties, right? Because as soon as these are capitalistic businesses, as soon as it makes sense to go somewhere else, they will. And Sam Altman has proved extremely shrewd here, right? There's lots of questions about the partnership between Altman and Microsoft, OpenAI and Microsoft. So this is all going to evolve, and it's so interesting to watch in real time. But certainly the Johnny Ive chapter with Sam Altman, signified with that picture, who can forget it, at the top of the announcement yesterday, opens up sort of new questions. And I like your theory, Sarah. Maybe it does give Google an advantage.
It's hard to tell. But that was a very friendly, it looked like an engagement photo with those two.
It did.
Thank you, Deirdre. Deirdre Bosa.